the show was first shown at the Clocktower in New York, one of the oldest alternative spaces in the city, during the winter months. I was asked to do, I'm a curator there, so I was asked to do the show, and I thought winter in New York is always very hard and dark and gloomy. Even though there was a lot of sunlight, it gets really cold. So I saw Zipporah's work, which you can see here behind me, around that same time. So I figured that really struck me, and from there grew this idea of working with landscape imagery, which then kind of extended itself to having internal landscapes as well, of artists working with dreams as landscape or city as a landscape. So it became broader than just these more straightforward at first glance landscape images. So Patti Smith, as you say, of course, is very known for her musical career, but before making her first album, she always was a poet, and she always has loved taking pictures. Here in the show, like Dark Paradise at the Clocktower, and here we have work from 1981, which is actually the first time she's showing this to the world. So one of besides Patti Smith, who's showing for the first time in Brazil, also David Wojnarowicz is showing in Brazil for the first time in this exhibition. He's I would even use the word epic figure of the art scene, the New York art scene from the late 70s and 80s. The work that we have in this show are 4 Rimbaud portraits from the late 70s, and then we have A Fire in My Belly, which is from 86, 87. Most of the images are shot in Mexico City. He went there after the earthquake of 85. And then in a way that David creates his own little myths and paradise. Here we have Alex Rose, who I think he considers himself an outsider artist, even though that's a stamp that we in the art world kind of create. He makes all these collages on a daily basis, and a lot has to do with the innocence of children. So as like the idea of paradise as a child, and like how the world does things to all of us and makes us less innocent and less fragile. Then there is a new piece by Marco Chavez, which is The Rocking Gavia in Rio. And also thinking of Rio now as like the whole gentrification going on for 2016. So this like idea of the paradise, tourist paradise, which might get a little darker for the locals, you know, for the less fortunate ones. So we have someone slightly older like Patti or Nancy Holt, Joan Jonas, and then there is a young Brazilian artist, Giotto Chapito, who I have known throughout the years, and I followed this work, and I've always been in love with the work we have in the show right now, in which you see a vista again of Rio, and there is and it's shot from within the ocean, so you kind of look at Rio, and there is a certain object that's coming towards the camera. And when I spoke to him about it, he told me for him it was based on Jules Verne's book 20,000 Miles Under the Sea, where the moment when the expedition discovers whatever it was that they were looking for, which in the book turns out to be a submarine. Also in the show is a work by Joan Jonas called Merlot, which she did back in '74, I believe, during a residency in Florence, Italy. So it's a very dreamy, haunting video, and I was going through a lot of her early works, because again, of this idea of working intergenerational and tying her in with the Clocktower, because she and Alana have this whole long 40-year long history. I was really impressed by this work specifically, because it's beautiful. Yeah.